Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we would now like to invite the MD and CEO of Times Network, M.K. Anand, to address this August gathering.
Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Sri Nitin Gadkari, assembled dignitaries and conclave delegates, a very good morning and a warm welcome to India Economic Conclave 2023. We are proud to present the 9th edition of this landmark event, and it has been our attempt to curate content for IEC around themes that emerge and merge into significant national agenda over time. We capture emerging facets of the India story in a way that ignites the imagination of our nation and its leadership. You would remember that it's on this podium that we first talked about the 5 trillion aspiration for the Indian economy. And since we live in the most happening period of our nation's history, it's actually been a bewildering array of choices of themes year after year. It's in fact been our pleasure cheerleading the progress even as we see India's graph rising. India has always been poised for greatness due to the sheer size of our economy and the law of averages, which had to catch up eventually. What was needed actually was perseverant effort and a peaceful society determined to keep improving its existential condition, and that is something that our government has been able to provide over time, and certainly in the last 8 to 10 years, it has been a very, very strong and good period for us. And India was always supposed to sort of reach, and that time, I think, we have, for what we've been talking about, this whole thing that we say in Bollywood, apna time aayega, and that dawn, however, was always some time away. However, what we have seen in these last couple of years, after the pandemic, is a sudden turn of events and a rapid re-rating of regions and nations globally. COVID disrupted the world order, and events after that, in rapid succession, US leaving Afghanistan in 21 August, Russia attacking Ukraine in February 22, the continuation of lockdowns in China, and the trade standoff which started around 2019 or so between China and the US were all landmark events. Amidst all this, when most national and regional economies were being bruised and battered by inflation, pandemic, energy shortage, war, and even the unheard of headlines of nuclear threats in Europe, India was quietly jogging at its usual pace, recording 7% growth. Add to that, in April this year, India has overtaken China as the world's largest nation by population. We are today the largest number of human beings, human brains and hands on earth. And we will be this way for the foreseeable future, 100 years down the line, maybe even 500 years down the line. India is now no longer just a potential or a dark horse. In a span of the last 2 years, the discourse has changed. We are now clearly seen as the hot favorite to eventually be the world's #1 economy by the turn of the century, by 2070 or so. And the war in Ukraine and China's belligerent stance on our northern borders has only tilted global power equations in our favor. We were always a military power to reckon with. The events of the last few years have only worked in our favor and motivated us to build our muscle in that side also. The Indian innings is beginning here. #1 population, rapidly rising, #5 economy, #4 military. In a multipolar world, the critical Indian Ocean region needs and deserves a mature, stabilizing factor. The world needs an alternate production hub. India is already all that and more. We believe it's time for us to recognize that what the world is already realizing. We are living through the emergence of our dear nation as the #3 superpower on earth. This edition of IEC is our attempt to drive home this specific point to every Indian. And we have planned a record 53 sessions over these 2 days for this. I'm sure you will go back from here as different people. I welcome you to immerse yourself over the next 2 days in the many discussions, debates, and deliberations over the theme, India, the emerging third superpower. Thank you.